Hello everyone, this is the STL trio. I am Pulkit, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts Daniel and Michael. Daniel, how's it going?
Going great, Pulkit. Always happy to be here to discuss the team review, even though it was not a good week, but looking forward to the next one already. What about you, Michael? How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. Very long week, but now it's gonna go pretty fast with FPL and all the games coming up. So I can't wait to review our teams and look forward for next week. How about you, Pulkit?
Yeah, going good as well. As always, FPL is exciting. Close to the weekend now, game week 7. So let's see how it goes. So we start with our game week 6 team review. It feels already like a long time now because we are all close to game week 7 now. And for me and Daniel, I don't think we have a lot to remember from game week 6. Let's start with the review. Daniel, with you.
Yeah, for sure. I'll take it away. Horrendous week. I wildcarded and I got 35 points overall. Honestly, I haven't opened like the app since last weekend. I took a small break. I've been taking a lot of work lately. I mean, it's been going downhill for a while now, but that's fine. Yeah, so I wildcarded, got a lot most of like the template wildcard players. And actually, I did some quick math. I don't know the exact number, but if I had kept my old team for that week, I would have gotten like at least 50 more points. So it would have been pretty good because I had Salah, Watkins, and Palmer. Like all three of them got, I think, double digits. But yeah, so on my original, that was to wild card this week, and this is why it hurts a bit more. But then I was scared of like, all the price changes that were happening. Like right now, I think I told you guys I gained like 0.9 or like maybe a million in the effective pricing because mostly all of those players rose. But in hindsight, obviously, I wish I had waited and like taken the hit on the value and got those extra points. So just a quick review of my team. In defense, everyone blanked. Arsenal threw away a 2-goal lead, but then won at the death, which is good as an Arsenal fan, but by an FPL. And Trent and Rico Lewis both blank. Semenyo finally got his return, so it was good we got him. Saka, so unlucky to not get an assist. The first half goal got counted as an own goal. He was on 3 bonus points, and then he went back to 1. So that was a bit of a roller coaster. Luis Diaz blank to Rogers return, so that's good. Hopefully he keeps returning. And then Haaland blanked, which I don't mind because a lot of people have captained him. So I think that was a bit in my favor. Nicholas Jackson got a return, an assist, but he was overshadowed by Palmer, who scored 4 goals in that game. And finally, Dominic Calvert-Lewin also blanked. And on my bench, Smith Rowe and Dalot. But then, so I go down to 2.38 million. I think I was at around a million before that game week. But yeah, I mean, I guess, I hope at least the only way is up until next game week.
Sounds good. I mean, it has to be pointed out that with Saka, we have been very, very unlucky. And the variance between Saka and Palmer this week is basically game week killer in some. All right, then looks good. We don't talk too much about it.
No, it's
To your first team then.
I mean, my bus league for now, at least, it remains unchanged. That's the captain, vice captain swap around. Holland is my captain versus Fulham, even though Saka is super tempting, but I mean, I don't think about it tonight. I'm hopefully planning on winning the transfer. Luis Diaz, I mean, Liverpool didn't have an early kickoff, so I mean, I'm going to see some leagues. Even if he does get benched, I don't know if I'm going to transfer him out. I might. So I have some stuff to think about tonight before going to bed. And yeah, as for my bench, Smith Rowe and Dano, I think they're going to remain on my bench this week, but then next week they're going to slot in. So yeah, that's nothing big from my side.
Yeah. I mean, when you wildcarded Daniel, you had this idea on your mind to keep Diaz for just 1 week and swap him to Boomo. So would that
Yeah.
be what you
Yeah, I think I mentioned that last week. And I think if I'm going to transfer Diaz out, it's going to be from Bomo. So I was hoping, like, because Diaz played Wolves last week and I'm going to play Wolves this week. I mean, I was thinking if it's a goal fast in the Liverpool Wolves game, then, I'll go for Bomo. But it was 2-1, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2-1.
Yeah, so I mean, I know Wolves are bad defensively, but I don't know if it's worth running that transfer directly after the wild card. But again, I'm gonna see depending on the league tomorrow to see what's going on.
Yeah. I think a lot of managers would be selling Diaz because he played in the midweek game, and last time Jota played in the midweek game against Milan and then got benched for Darwin. And here on this side, like between DS and Gecko, the difference is quality is not even that much. So it's looking very likely that he will get benched. And then let's hope we don't see a farmer kind of thing happen.
Yep.
No, I mean, Forest are good defensively ish. So hopefully they can contain Palmer.
No, I meant farmer kind of thing with DS.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, unless we have him in our team, then I don't mind him scoring 4 goals.
Yep. And with the captaincy, I think when we discuss my team, I think I will also share my thoughts on this one. But going ahead, the happy
Yeah,
manager
this week.
for this week.
Yeah. So for this game, let's just say it wasn't for what I did right, but for what everyone else did wrong in their wild card that helped me with my rank technique. So like if you see my defense and goalkeeper, everyone blanked, and my midfield, Palmer and Salah, they just basically got 60-70% of my whole team points. At Palmer, I actually was thinking about captaining him about an hour before deadline, but I was like, Salah is the most safe choice in this team. Yes, well, he blanked again when I played with my team, but when I bench him, he scores. I'm going to give him one more week. I mean, I bought him after his first goal and then doesn't score anymore. And my forwards, Watkins, like got him at the right time, thankfully. While my bench, it's all blank there. But I'm happy with my ranking going up from, I think it was about 7.3, 7.4 million, 6.5. So I'm just hoping that this continues on for the next game week.
Yeah, looks good. And I agree with you. It was a lot of people selling the wrong players that probably also helped you a bit. But with Palmer, I'm so glad that you have him because before last week, like I was convinced of only one decision, which was to not even consider Palmer and didn't consider him for even a bit on my wildcard. So I had considered about either Palmer and Havertz or Saka and Jackson. And I think a lot of managers in the community considered that option. And it felt like Jackson is closer to being the main man in Chelsea along with Palmer than Havertz. Because of the Odegaard injury, we all thought that maybe Havertz plays a bit into the midfield and then Saka would be the main man there, but not really Havertz. And just 1 week forward, and it looks like the opposite, that Palmer and Havertz is actually maybe the better combination than Jackson and
Yeah, like, I mean, if you can have Palmer and Jackson or Palmer and Havertz, that's probably a very good option. I mean, Saka, when he scores, he'll score very well, but he is a bit up and down, I think. He just needs the whole team, like the midfield and everyone else to perform well for him to get those.
I just want to also say that, I mean, because my team was very similar to Michael's last week, and this is, when I started the season, this is like what we thought that we could have if we don't have Haaland, right? But
Yeah.
Haaland kept on hauling for all these weeks. So now that Haaland blanked for the first time, this is like the reality of like, oh, so if you don't own Haaland and he blanks, you're going to do like mega well, right?
Yep. So true. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And let's go to your bus team, Michael.
So this is my bus team currently without making any transfers as of yet. So I'm trying to go all in with my defense, triple up in Arsenal defense, and having double up in with Graves and Davis. So what I'm thinking here is with Arsenal, I read a stat where they have the best set pieces goals while Southampton is the worst. I think Pulkit said that in one of our chats. So I'm hoping that it's a clean sheet goal and goal, but that's another dream. And then Palmer, Salah, Eze, and DCL and Watkins. And my differential for this week, apart from the full defense, is Watkins as my captain. I know I may be biased as a Liverpool fan, but Watkins with confidence against a very terrible Man United defense, especially when they had the 3-3 draw in their European game, he can have a big haul at home. against Man United. So that's my team there.
I just want to say you benched Emily Smith Rowe. Should that mean like we should start him?
Yes. So that's what I was thinking. Like, should I start him? Because I know Man City's an absolutely done team, but they've been leaking goals at least one. So it's almost guaranteed Mr. will score or assist this kingdom.
I mean, unless you're gonna start him, like, would it be like for like Greaves or Eze, or who are you thinking?
Probably Greaves, but what I'm also thinking is potentially trading Ketia to Quinio for this week, because I think Wolves are playing Brentford, and that should be a good enough game for him to score a goal. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. If not, then I would have Smith Rowe coming in for Greaves.
For Greece, you can maybe check out how West Ham are at defending set pieces, because Greaves has that bullet header in him, like Gabriel.
Okay. I didn't know that. I'll check that out.
And then, of course, Gabriel and Saliba. I have this feeling that while all our eyes are on Gabriel, with him almost looking like in every game that he would score a goal with Saka corner, could be Saliba that pops up this time. So this could be a really good week for you, Michael, with both Gabriel and Saliba in there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be an Arsenal fan for this week, just for the defense.
All right. And then regarding the captaincy, just want to mention a couple of points there. So with Watkins, you could see it as a positive that now they won against Bayern Munich, which is basically a great achievement. I don't think anyone expected that. And he'd be full of like energy and he'd be excited for it and so on. But you could also see it the other way, that they played a very intense game against Bayern and he might be a little bit out of energy. Duran again continuing his thing where he basically comes from the bench and scores. Even that could be an option, that Watkins played for 60, 70 minutes and then Duran comes in for him. So maybe the minutes might be a bit managed for Watkins as well. And finally, the difference in number of points for midfielders and strikers is also a thing. So could be that Salah or even Palmer maybe good options, and a differential one in Gabriel maybe.
So I think, yeah, with Palmer and Salah, that I think they're going to go well. But in terms of Watkins, I know that it was a very intense game with Munich. But at the same time, I think the positives coming out of it is that Aston Villa plays a late game this week, so there's more breaks for Aston Villa. While Man United played later in the European fixtures, so they technically should be more tired than most other Premier League teams. And also, we could see a different formation where possibly Duran starts because of his performance. So that in a way gives Watkins more space and like resting time in the attack. So we'll see how it goes. But again, I understand that Palmer and Salah might be the safest options for this week.
Yeah. So good then. All right, then looking at my team now, I'll also go quickly over here, like Daniel, who played the wildcard, got 43 points, dropped down to 1.11 million. I had finally managed to get in the top million, only to come back here, that too after playing the wildcard. So basically, on the wildcard, I remember we were discussing when we were doing the team review last time. And Daniel, you mentioned that the team looks fine-ish. So why would I want to wildcard that? And the only reason probably was Arsenal, because I had got Gabriel on a hit. But I really thought Saka would be amazing against Leicester at home. And also for the coming fixtures in Southampton, Bournemouth. And somehow I was convinced that I'll either wildcard in 6 or 7. Like somehow it was fit in my mind that it would be those 2 weeks where I would definitely wildcard. So then I looked at what changes would I do if I delay the wildcard by a week. And there was not much really, because I had pretty much ruled out Palmer as an option. Things maybe could have been different now after I saw him score that many goals, but probably not. And the price changes were crazy last week. So even just like you, Daniela and me have also gained somewhere around 0.9 or 0.8 or something around that number. So the price changes were the key factor that drive me. And then whole week I was basically trying out different drafts without actually pressing the button, and sort of finally the drafts pulled me in clicking the button. But yeah, I was sort of convinced that it could happen that I get a worse score than my original team. And for me, at least, it was slightly better that I didn't own Palmer even in my original team. So didn't lose those points at least. But I still had Salah, who I would have captained for sure. I had Rogers, Watkins. So there were quite a few players. I think I didn't want to calculate it, but I did calculate it, and I would have somewhere around 67, 70 points on my non-wildcard team. So yeah, that's how it goes. Let's see. Hopefully this wildcard team does better over the coming weeks and covers for it. So now quickly going through the team, Flecken, Blank with 2-pointer. Didn't want to spend that much on Raya, so I went with Flecken. Gabriel, 1-pointer. Trent, Blank with 1-pointer. Lewis, 2 pointers. Semenyo got the goal, 7-pointer. Saka, 6 with the captaincy band. With Saka, it is actually crazy that he got the bonus even without contributing for even a single return. And in a game where there were 6 goals. So that itself shows how involved he was and how probably unlucky he is to not get a return here. Then Diaz blank, but at least he got like 72 or 73 minutes, which was in a way a positive, because I felt like he'll mostly go off after 60, 65 minutes. So hope his minutes at least remain around 70, 75 minutes, which is good enough in my opinion for Diaz to get returns. Then Boomo continues his streak, or Brentford continue their streak of scoring in the first minute. So let's see how well he continues in the coming games. Brentford's fixtures are great, so it's good to have Mbumo. And I think a lot of managers are finding ways to get Mbumo in their team with Brentford's run. Then finally, I have Haaland, who blanked for the first time this season, Jackson and Solanke. Solanke also with Spurs, they have great fixture run now. Maybe next week or next week, the amazing fixture run starts. And I think Solanke with 90 minutes playing up top in that attacking team could be a great option. In fact, I'm thinking about doubling up on Spurs attack, and I'll basically talk about it and discussing my first team. So bench, Mikolenko, Dibling, Greaves. By the way, I just read, I'm not sure if it is true or not, but I read that Mikolenko might be injured and Everton are still to confirm it. He's not flagged yet in the game. That would put a dent in my plans. I was so high on Everton defense, and it was you guys who stopped me. Otherwise, I might have even doubled up on Everton defense. And actually, looking at their numbers, they did improve. They had, I think, 0.9 HGC, which is much better than they had in the past games. Like, I think they mostly remained above 2.4, 2.5, somewhere around that number. So Brentford's inclusion is actually showing something, but they just still concede. So it doesn't matter in the end of the day because they didn't get the clean sheet points. So let's see how it goes there. Then looking at the bus team, didn't change much. So Flecken in goal, Gabriel, Trent, Lewis, Semenyo, Saka captain, Diaz, Mbumo, Haaland, Jackson, Solanke. Now there, with the captaincy, it's a bit tricky with Haaland and Saka as the options. I just see Southampton game to be really, really nice. And with Saka's performance in the last week, I think he can get a good return here. And also with the midfielder thing, because so Saka, without getting a return, got one bonus. So it's pretty much confirmed based on what he's doing at the moment in the team, with Odegaard not being there. I think even if he gets a single return, he'll most probably grab all 3 points, unless obviously Havertz or someone who does something crazy. So then we are talking 3 points there for a goal, 5 points, and a PRS point. So he's almost certain to get a double-digit return with just one goal. And Haaland would have to get a brace to actually go there, being the striker in the team. And Fulham have been good defensively. They have not been that bad. We saw it with Salah versus Nottingham Forest. My reason for not captaining Salah even in that game was the same, that Nottingham Forest were good. So I probably follow the same logic. Trust on data with Fulham being a better defense and Southampton being so horrible and Saka being great. I'll most probably, like, I'm 99.99% sure that I'll be going with Captain Saka.
Yeah, I just want to say that while you were talking about Saka now, I grabbed my phone and changed the captaincy to him. So, so right now, sounds like, I mean, you're right. He made some great points. He almost got 3 points and did not do anything last game. And Arsenal scored 4. He was unlucky on a return. Versus Southampton, I expect more of the same, like 3-4 goals. And hopefully this time he gets in the score sheet or like gets an assist. So, yeah, for now, it's on Saka. But obviously, I'm going to rethink it before the other day.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's always scary to go against Haaland at home, but I think this week it's still a little more open than people are giving credit for.
Makes sense. In a week's time, when we do the Gameweek 7 review, we're either going to be both super happy or both in the same position, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Late Riser from FPL Wire mentioned it, or maybe it was Pras, that if you play this game with not maximizing expected goals or minimizing expected goals conceded and all those numbers, but minimizing the expected regret. So I think if I don't captain Saka, even though Haaland holds and maybe Saka gets a single return, I'll still maybe slightly regret it, because if with Saka's 1 return and Haaland praise, they would still be around the same number, but then Saka would be more of a differential. And with the strong feeling I have for him, not going for him, I know I would regret it.
Makes sense. That Saka is only on 33%, while Haaland is 73%. So, yeah. Like, you already have Haaland getting the points, but Saka is a defension. So, yeah, good point.
All right, then this week we have actually added one more section to our team review video. Let's see the feedback that we get. So we'll basically quickly go over the fixtures for game week 7 and talk some key assets, maybe captaincy points. The table shown over here basically shows the fixtures that are there in game week 7 and some ranks for defense and attack. So which team has the better fixture for attack or basically defense? And the ranks are based on the XG per 90 and XGC per 90 numbers. So if, for example, your best attack is facing the worst defense, then that basically becomes your best fixture for that attack and worst fixture for that defense. So in that case, we have just seen the difference in quality of the team. So for example, Crystal Palace, what rank they have for XG per 90, and Liverpool, what rank they have for MPG per 90. And the difference in those numbers gives them we give them a particular rank. So just mentioning a few here, we see that Liverpool is probably the best fixture for defense at the moment, because Crystal Palace attack is not clicking that much. I think they have only scored 4 goals throughout the season. So that could be a reason. And following it is basically Bournemouth defense actually. But I think the credit there doesn't go to Bournemouth as much as it goes to Leicester for being not that great attack in terms of expected numbers. But they have scored more than their expected numbers. So if I remember correctly, Leicester were expected to score only 4 goals, but they have overshot and scored 8 goals, mostly because they have those overperforming players in Vardy, for example. So do you guys have any comments, or we can just quickly go fixture by fixture, discuss the key players?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so Crystal Palace and Liverpool in this season is showing that they can defend much better with slot system. So great defense. Palace is not that great of an attack as well. And attack, always Liverpool is good for getting goals. In my opinion, the key players are basically Salah, Diaz, Jota, and Trent. I don't see any Palace players, to be honest, as key ones. maybe one could consider Eze or Mateta, but based on how Palace is playing at the moment, I don't think so. Maybe Michael, you have something to add there?
Yeah, I mean, Crystal Palace, all their players has been underachieving all season, especially the attack, where you'd expect Eze and Mateta to score a lot of goals. So I think the key players there are Salah and Trent. He has a Jota, but I can see Liverpool winning this by 2-3 goals, I think. What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys are more Liverpool experts, but yeah, again, it depends on who starts between Diaz and Jota, or if they both start. But yeah, definitely a great fixture for Liverpool. And from what you said, they're first in defensive rank, so we're expecting hopefully a clean sheet, and they're fourth in attacking. So Trent could be that could help him if he gets if they get a clean sheet and then Trent gets like an attacking return as an assist. That I said that with this already. So yeah, should be good. Come on, Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly. And I see a lot of players or managers are basically selling Trent to fund for Palmer. Obviously, there's a bit of knee-jerk involved there, but I would suggest not to sell Trent at least this week because it looks like a great fixture for Trent.
I agree. By the way, Jota, I don't know if you said that right. Jota got 2 assists last week versus Wolves.
Yeah.
So he is informed.
8-2. All right, then looking at Arsenal Southampton, Arsenal, your team, Daniel, great numbers. I mean, initially at the start of this season, or maybe just when Odegaard went there, attacking numbers dropped a bit, but they are getting back on track. This is the second best fixture this week for attack for Arsenal, fourth best for defense as well. And with the set pieces thing that Michael earlier mentioned, with Southampton being the worst at stopping goals from set pieces and Arsenal being the best from scoring them from set pieces, there could be a lot of returns from the Arsenal players. Again, as you can see, the key players, I'm listed the Arsenal players on Saka, Havertz, Martinelli, Trossard, and Gabriel. Martinelli and Trossard, of course, they are the minutes rest, but then I think with Odegaard injury, they are playing a lot more than we would have expected them before the start of the season.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I mean, I would be really, really surprised if Southampton do score. I mean, well, it's been like 6 games so far. They scored 3 goals only. Another facing that arguably the best defense in the Prem. So if they score it, that's super unlucky. So yeah, I am expecting a clean sheet. So Michael will up on defense. Hopefully, you all there. And yeah, I mean, expecting goals to blow up. I'm actually looking for 5 goal wins. So hopefully that does happen.
Yes. Let's hope that Arsenal does get that clean sheet against Southampton. I mean, we had high hopes with Southampton, Armstrong, but it doesn't seem to be going as planned.
And actually, just now what came to my mind is probably one could also add Timber to that list, who is getting the minutes. I think he got 1 assist as well recently. So it could be that we all have our eyes on Gabriel and Saliba, and it's Timber who popped up with something, or maybe Calafiori. So Arsenal players, there are a lot of good options there. So basically, whoever has whatever Arsenal players should hold on to them, and if possible, they will be priority buys this week.
Agreed.
Then Brentford Wolves. So basically, not really a great fixture in any aspect. Maybe for Wolves, attacking wise, it could be a good one. In my opinion, the key players are Mbumo, Cunha, Ait Nouri, and Larson. Larson is actually also doing quite good for Wolves. So let's see how it goes. Maybe, Michael, since you are considering one Wolves player in Cunha, do you have any comments there?
Yeah, so there should be a higher scoring game than usual. So at least both teams should be able to score. And Brumo and Cunha is probably the two key players for me in this game. Both players up front are very close to the goal and probably has the best chances for either team to score. While Larson, he may be good, but he doesn't get into his positions like Cunha. And I know with Mbeumo in the other side, I don't think they should keep the clean sheet, in my opinion.
He scored a goal last week.
Yeah, Aït-Nouri scored a goal, but I think it was more of Liverpool's defensive error than Aït-Nouri himself doing that great, because there was some miscommunication between Konate and Alisson, and they just left the ball and Wood bounced on it. So it was quite funny, to be honest. All right, going on to Man City and Fulham. Of course, Man City is the preferred team here. And as I was mentioning when I was explaining why I am not considering Haaland as the captain, of course, one shouldn't rely too much on the data. It's quite less, just 6 game weeks, but still, based on this difference in XG per 90 of Man City and XGC per 90 of Fulham, they are not really the best fixture to target in attack. 6th rank there. Defensively, they are still really good for City, but it's because their expected numbers are so good. But then, as Michael mentioned earlier, City always find a way to conceivably, they may still find a way to not get a clean sheet. And with ESR on Michael's bench, who knows, he might score a goal. And then the key players, Haaland is probably the only player that I can say for City looks good. I don't think until and unless Foden, KDB, they are starting on a regular basis, anyone even comes close to Haaland. I mean, we were seeing earlier, and Haaland has actually contributed to around 73 or 74% of the goal share of City, and that's all goal shares, so not assist, but completely goals. So I don't think anyone comes close there from City team to Haaland. Then maybe Fulham, Adama is surprisingly doing quite good this season. ESR is obviously an option, and Raul Jimenez, who has been doing quite well since he has started over Muniz. Then maybe going ahead with West Ham and Ipswich. Again, not a fixture from which we want to get and target players. Maybe Ipswich defensively, they are a bit skewed because of the first 2 fixtures that they had against City and Liverpool, but I think they are getting better. And in attack also, Delap is doing well. He scored a brace last week, so could maybe be an option. From West Ham, they might improve, but let's see how it goes. I'd see only Bowen as an option. Maybe if someone wants to consider Kudus, but I don't think anyone would get players from this game. They may start players like Delap or Leaf Davis or Bowen, but I don't suggest to get someone from this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, nothing major from this game. I mean, I know Mike didn't double up on that, but in fact, he didn't real, so he can get clean sheet for you, Michael. But yeah, nothing really strikes out in that game.
And also Leicester and sorry, Michael, you want?
Well, then go ahead.
So Leicester and Bournemouth. This was actually quite surprising for me that Bournemouth attack actually came out with the best attack based on the numbers. And as I mentioned, it is more about not just how good Bournemouth are in attack, but how bad Leicester are in defense, which is what gives them this high rank. So Semenyo looks like a great option for this week. I mean, Saka had a great time against Leicester. It just didn't end up in a return. So let's hope Semenyo could go one step further and get maybe a brace or something. The key players from this NBD is actually doing quite good, and he's someone who Michael owns, so really great. I actually didn't notice too much, but Bono Notte is contributing a fair share of Leicester's goals. So maybe he could be someone to keep an eye on with Leicester having some good fixture. And then from Bournemouth, it's Semenyo and Lewis Cook. I added it with a start just because I saw that he had some decent contribution in the overall share, but the overall share is not that high for Bournemouth itself. So it could be a dispute, but I just added it because he had like 3 returns, which is just one less than Semenyo in the Bournemouth team. So if you have him, you can play him, but I don't think you get him. Apart from Semenyo, I wouldn't get anyone. Then going to Everton, Newcastle. Everton, probably I am the only one in the community who's high on Everton defense. So let's see how it goes. I still think Newcastle can win this one, but McNeil is looking quite good, and FPL is at its peak when basically You reject a player based on the reason that his XG is not high and he doesn't look like he'll score a goal, and the same week he ends up scoring a brace. That's how it is. The key players from this game are McNeil, DCL, Barnes, and Gordon. Barnes was your shout, Daniel, and he actually looks quite good eye test wise. He may not have got a return in game week set, but he is looking like a quite a promising player.
Yeah, I agree. Also, for me, putting Gordon in there, he scored last week, but I think a lot of people removed him, including myself. So yeah, I mean, if Newcastle turns around, like you were saying, they're not playing well. If they turn it around, he's back in the mix, right?
Yeah, and then Villa United. This fixture would have a lot of eyes on the game because Eric Ten Hag's job is under scrutiny, and a loss here, what I'm reading, a loss here could actually see Ten Hag leave the club on Monday. So let's see how it goes. And it could go either way for Villa or for United. Like there could be narrative for both sides. United with the manager under pressure, maybe the team turns up for the manager. Similarly, Villa are high on confidence, but they could be basically maybe tired with all the traveling. So it's a bit of an unpredictable way, but uh, we all think, I think Villa should be able to make it.
Yeah, gonna be a good game, I think.
Yes,
It
and
should
then
be a very good passing game, this one.
and then key players, like this shows how bad United have been at the moment. By the way, one thing to note about United is United have only scored 5 goals this season, but their expected numbers show that they could have actually scored 10 goals, which is basically double the number of goals that they have scored. So if those 5 goals, or if 3 goals out of those 5 they could have scored at the correct times, who knows, the story might have been a bit different. And while writing the key players, I could not think of any United player to add, so I just added Garnacho here.
It's a key player in Man United's very bad to see, especially when the key player is been a bench player for the last like 5 games. So yeah, hopefully they can get better from here.
Yep. And next is Chelsea Nottingham Forest. Obviously, Palmer would be high on everyone's minds with what he did in the last game. But even with Palmer's returns, I think they are a lot skewed because he, I think he has had 2 games where he got like significantly high returns. Like I think it was 3 or 4 assists in game week 2, and then in game week 6 he got these 4 goals.
Mm.
So he could be this tricky player who basically just comes out and does these things, which you can always expect of him. He's such a great player. If I'm not wrong, he was the highest point scorer of last season, so you can always expect something from him. But Nottingham Forest defense is good, so I'm betting on their defense that Farmer doesn't hurt me again. And the numbers also show that not greatest fixture in terms of attack for both the teams. The key players, in my opinion, are Palmer, Jackson, who's actually looking quite good and high on confidence. Sancho, after moving from United in Chelsea, he's actually looking quite good. And from Forest, Wood, and probably Milinkovic, who looks a good attacking player, but his minutes are still not confirmed.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a high scoring game. I do own Jackson, so I do hope he does retain. Again, I think Michael is the one who owns Palmer here, and like, a lot of people are going to get him in. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. All right. Then final game, Brighton Tottenham. A great fixture for Tottenham, in my opinion. Obviously, we saw what Chelsea did to Brighton. Now, of course, something similar won't happen because if Brighton play in the same way as they played against Chelsea with the high line, even though they have those injuries, Tottenham would just kill them. Like the way Ange plays, the way their attack is, this could be a goal fest. So I'm not expecting Tottenham to go out and do the same thing as what Chelsea did, but it could still be a good game for Tottenham. The key players, in my opinion, for Brighton, maybe Welbeck, and I just added Mitoma in there because Mitoma is a great player and he can hurt Spurs because Spurs do attack more than they like to defend. And finally, you can see this list for Spurs. because all of them are really good. I'm not sure if Son is back from injury.
No, he's not gonna play.
Okay.
I confirm he's out. It's keeper the turnaround, he said, and he won't make it.
Then Son maybe not. Madison, Solanke, Johnson, Kulusevski, all look great options. And I think I heard somewhere that Solanke is actually basically bringing the team together quite well, and he's trying to drop deep and passing the ball to those high running players, which is why Johnson, Kulusevski, they are looking quite good. And actually, Johnson is someone who I am considering getting in this week if I hear that Diaz is benched.
Nice, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of players. Like you need to go Irish first team.
I just added Poro and Romero with a star, but probably Poro at 5.5. I sold him on Wildcard because I don't think Poro, creativity wise, is that important now to the Spurs team with Madison and Kulusevski taking a lot of the burden there. He has not taken any corners as such, even though he's still sending in quite a few crosses. I think he's quite high on that list, but with less creativity, responsibility, and with less chance of a clean sheet, 5.5 million, I don't think it's maybe worth it, but we'll see. Because Spurs do have a great run of fixtures. I think in the next 12 or 13 games, they probably just have 2 fixtures that are tough in Man City and Liverpool. But otherwise, everything seems green for them. All right, then I guess we went through the fixtures. I hope it helps everyone. Anything to add from your side, maybe, Michael?
Lots from me here. I mean, we've basically covered all the main teams there, or main players in teams. So it should be a very fun game week.
All right, then. All the best to both of you. Let's hope we can get some green arrows. And thanks everyone for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.